This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Our King's Competitions. Delighted to be joined with Lawrence Okolie here in London. A couple of days after obviously a successful night on Saturday night. But yeah, how's things? Enjoying the time off now? No post-fight depression?
Yeah, no, I feel good. I've got the W. Obviously, I don't need to. Usually after fights I'll be eating. But now because I've been eating the whole way through, I'm just chilling, waiting to get back into training. Go from there.
Absolutely. Obviously, a successful night on Saturday. Just talking to Tim Bedell, I was saying sort of two fights, two rounds this year. So, two back-to-back first-round knockouts. I guess for yourself, happy with how it went? It can't really go much better.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was a lot of pressure on. I'm with a new promoter, new network, new everything. And also, I haven't boxed in England in like over a year and a half. So, a lot of the fans might not have seen my first-round knockout for the Bridgerweight belt, so they got to see a little bit then.
Absolutely, and I guess for one thing yourself, like when you do get obviously the two first round knockouts, like everyone, sometimes people always say, I want to get the rounds in. Like, do you feel that mentality, or is it just when I see an opportunity, I want to get them out straight away?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not really. I don't really buy into that. Do you know what I mean? So if I ever say it, I'm lying. Like, no, you don't want to do rounds. It's good to get sometimes just to know you can do it under the lights, but I've done 12 rounds a number of times in my career. I know what I have to do to get into that type of shape, and that's not something I really think about. The only thing is, you want to shake off ring rust, but, I think the main thing is just having fights. You do camps where you spar yourself into good shape, then it's more so going through the motion of a fight where it's like the fight week, the person talking, not talking, the commission this, commission that, just all of the bits around having a fight. But I mean, we train all year round, so as fighters you're always ready to kind of have a go.
And another big thing for this fight as well was obviously being the heavyweight debut. How did it feel being a heavyweight? I guess with your body and everything in general, not having to cut the weight, like how was that process, I guess for the whole camp and for fight night as well? Yeah,
no, it was great. There's no other weight I could have done a 5-week camp and come in and had a fight, I wouldn't be able to make Bridgerweight, wouldn't be able to make Cruiserweight, definitely within a 5-6 week camp. So I felt good. I felt still quite light on my feet, still strong and whatever else. I was punching very, very hard in the back. When you put on the 10-ounce gloves and you're hitting in the back of the house, that's when you can kind of feel I could feel the difference between this compared to my last fight or the fight before. So I felt really explosive, and it makes me kind of feel a lot more violent, when it comes to fights. I'm just trying to get the shots off now because I know what they can do.
Definitely, and that's one thing I was going to mention when it talks about your power transferring, I guess, from cruiserweight to heavyweight. Do you think even more so from just naturally being a puncher, it's even more so now where you haven't got you probably feel your strongest in camp when say the cruiserweight days, probably you felt your strongest in camp when you were sort of the heavier marks in a sense. So just sort of feel now that power transfers because you haven't got to cut that extra weight? Yeah,
definitely. I felt like for the last few years, before I moved up, I was losing it, in the last week, 2 weeks, where I'm not, as I said, I'm doing what I have to do to make weight. So you lose a lot of that explosive energy, that kind of like robustness, and just like, it's like asking any of these heavyweights now to lose, 2-3 stone. They're going to lose a lot of their goodness. So same thing.
Did you feel any mental benefits from like not constantly being worried about sort of looking at the scales or looking at the weight coming down?
Yeah, definitely, because now all I'm thinking about is what I'm going to do in the fight, which way I'm going to step, which way I'm going to feint, when I'm going to throw shots, different scenarios. I'm going through the actual boxing as opposed to the, focusing all on what I'm going to eat today, what I'm going to drink, obviously it's still important, your diet and stuff, but it was like, those times it was insane.
Definitely, and yeah, I did want to touch on the weight because I think it was a big factor, especially when people saw you on the scales coming in at 260 pounds. Is that? Do you feel that's a what?
No, the way you're asking it, it's funny. Like, well, go on.
Yeah, but like, in what way?
I don't know. It seems like you're okay. Go on.
No, but like, do you feel like that is an optimal weight for yourself?
No, I don't think it's optimal weight. I think it was a weight, that with 5 weeks, that's the weight that I was at. I wasn't really focusing on, being body beautiful or anything like that. It was just getting my rounds in, getting my runs in, getting my weightlifting in, and we did it. So I don't think I would weigh that in another fight. You know, I think especially with like a longer camp, I'll probably be closer to 240, 250, and a little bit more lean, because especially as I fight some of these better guys, I'm going to need to be doing a lot more different things, and I don't expect to get everyone out in one round. So you need the conditioning to do 12 hard rounds, yeah.
Like, I wasn't trying to be rude, but do you see why? Do you see why it was a talking point for yourself? They're being a cruiserweight and coming in that heavy.
No, 100%. So I only just seen the memes and stuff like that the day after, because I don't really go on social media during fight time. So I was like, oh wow, because even myself, I was like, oh, I'm a bit heavy. Like I felt a little bit shy about taking off my top. I was like, you know what, I'm the one that ate the food and done whatever. So you gotta go there and do your job.
Absolutely, and I guess for yourself, coming off the back of 2 first-round knockouts, and like for yourself, when you had the maybe previous fights in the past, do you feel extra pressure to sort of take away the connotations, I guess, from potentially being a boring fighter that people may have tagged you with before? Like, do you feel that pressure to perform in a sense?
So I think the pressure is more, it's when it stays on now. Do you know what I mean? And at the moment, boxing is absolutely at its best that I've seen in my career, and maybe, you know, for the last, 10, 20 years, in terms of fighters are in big fights, people are being sort of put in positions where they have to fight each other. You know, that's something I push for my whole career. I always look for the biggest and best fights. But now, people have incentive to make those fights happen. So I just want to put on great performances. I've won world titles. I've done it in 2 different weight classes. I want to do it in a third. But I also want to be able to look back at my fights and just be like, yo, like the stuff I was doing in the gym, I'm doing on fight time, which has been happening lately.
Yeah, definitely. It's just sort of, I was just out of interest, like, you know, is it something that maybe you consciously think about? Because if sort of there was critics from previous performances, like, is it something consciously you think about that you do want to put on a bit of a show?
Oh, not really.
Or winning is the main thing.
No, obviously you want to look good. The fact is, I'm a good boxer, so I know how to box. I know how to set up good power punches. So it's about doing it. So people that come to watch me, as I said, train in the gym, spar, they're all like, oh, you're great. But it's about doing it on the day where it matters every time. So there's no point in doing it twice and not doing it the third time. It's about being consistent with what I'm doing and just being sure of like what I'm meant to do and going in and doing it.
Absolutely, and moving on, where this win obviously puts you in good stead, especially in the heavyweight division. And yourself there, you mentioned it. You know, you've always been chasing big fights at cruiserweight for so long. You wanted that Bradis fight that never happened, and so many fights that you're always chasing. So now, feel like there's an abundance of options at heavyweight that you could mix it with.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's not any heavyweight that's out of reach. You know, obviously you look at the Tyson Furies and the Uziks, and you know that they have their own song that they're singing, and they're probably gonna, you know, dance off into the sunset with each other, which they deserve. They've put in decades of like good work. But everyone else, you know, just beneath that, are viable options both ways. Yeah.
Well, there was an option I did want to talk about, and I don't know if you would have seen it, but I did speak to Dillian Whyte a couple hours ago, and I did brandish the idea of a fight against you, and he had, I guess, a few choice words. He said, you know, yourself and Joe Gallagher are stinky, you need a shower, and he said about that he agreed to the fight, and you know, he said he agreed to a fight a few times. I'll show you the clip. I'll play the clip, one sec, and I'll see what you have to say about it. I'll just play it here. I've just bookmarked it. No, I didn't actually, but here.
My time and energy with
Hold
these
on.
guys, man, I just need to... Listen, Lawrence Okolie just talks a lot. Him and Joe Gallagher, they both need a shower. They look very stink. They both need a shower.
Look at this and tell me if that's the man that you're saying that.
Mate, he keeps saying he wants to fight me. I agree. He don't want to fight. Then he said, oh, he don't want to fight me because I'm not... Listen, these guys waste my time.
How can I pause this?
Yeah, cool.
And I don't even over-analyse it, but you can see when someone's talking and they don't follow through with points, like they're just making stuff up. He just said he wanted to fight me, and then on to the next one. Like, for me, as I said, since I was a cruiserweight, you know, I begged for that fight. I remember Eddie and that laughing me out of the room when I was like, oh, I need that Dillian Whyte fight. They were just like, oh, no, mate, he's a... Well, now we're both heavyweights. Yeah, as I said, to be fair, he's not the fight before a world title fight, but if, for example, the world title fights are not readily available, or the eliminators, there's fights like that. Like, we'll see how he gets on this weekend. I want him to focus on that, but that's obviously a good grudge match in the sense of, like, we've had our little tits and tats. There's nothing other than, it'll be nice for me to punch him in the face.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, do you think that is like when you look at big fights and you mention big fights, do you think that's one of them? Because there's been bad blood, I guess, brewing for a couple of years with you two.
It depends if he wants it. If he wants it, then it's a big fight. Do you know what I mean? But if he doesn't want it, he can box in Gibraltar against Ebenezer Tete, who's a good fighter, and just kind of go down that road or whatever, or just wait to be an AJ opponent again, because that is pretty much how he based his whole career. But we'll see.
What about the shower comments?
I've got nothing to say about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But yeah, as you say, there is an abundance of options, and it's probably good as well that they're all with Queensberry. You know, names like Fabio Wardley and Joe Joyce as well. I'm sure are two people are probably on the road to a world title for yourself. But those two people that you think you can mix it with.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, I'm looking for Zhang versus Cabell winner. I'm looking for the guys that are just ahead towards getting a world title shot. Because my thing is, I want to retire freeweight world champion, you know, and say, no matter what anyone says, these are my accolades. But then the likes of fighters who are actually clear to fight in England, like Fabio, like Joe Joyce, those are more like, you know, achievable fights than like Mr. I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, I guess now moving forward, I know you're at the WBC convention tomorrow. Were the conversations with Maurizio? Obviously, you know, high up in the WBC rankings. Had a bit of a oppression from Simon Jordan on Talksport a couple days ago. But yeah, good conversation with Maurizio. You hoping at this convention?
Yeah, definitely. You know, as I said, being a world champion means something. I've done it twice. You know, so it's getting the respect it deserves, and now I just need to go out and keep putting on performances that are warranted.
And final one from myself as you look to close the year off, hoping for an active and big 2025.
Yeah, definitely. I made myself a promise that I would, on my vision board, win all my fights by KO in 2024. I'm trying to do the same again in 2025.
You mentioned there about the vision board, actually, and I did want to touch about that because that's something you've done for quite a few years, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. You know, I do like to believe that there's a lot of power in what you say, a lot of power in what you do, a lot of power in what you promise yourself, and going and executing it. So one thing that my manager and business partner and best friend, blah, 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 says all the time is that you don't negotiate with yourself. Once you've set yourself a target, you don't negotiate, you just go out there and get it done. So that's what